Hello everybody, I hope you having a great day. If not, hang in there, life gets better. You know, we all have ups and downs, you know, some days are hard, some days are easy. And if you're having a hard day, it's gonna get better in due time. Today, I think I have some very interesting to talk about, something interesting to show you. You know, a couple times, you know, there's an auction me and my wife go to sometimes, you know, where I just found out about it. It's a pretty good place, pretty good people. And then online, they usually show the items, so you can like view the items that they're having so you can know what's gonna be there, you know, if you wanna go. And so Jennifer showed me some items that they were having. I like, whoa, wow, I have to have these items right here. Some interesting pieces that I saw that, you know, just sparked my, I don't know, what is it, curiosity, you know, something, I don't know what it is. Something inside of me said, get those items. So I planned in purpose that I was gonna go to this auction and I was gonna get these items that I saw. And the main reason I wanted them, one, they're kind of old, I guess, maybe. Two, because I wanted to talk to you about it. I want to bring this out to have a conversation, you know, to see what you think about it and how you feel. So without further ado, let me show you these wonderful pieces that I got at this auction. So piece number one is this calendar. Hopefully you can see it. That says Darky toothpaste gets teeth their whites. And you see what's on the front of this. All right, this is the first piece. The second piece is this fan. You got gentleman on the front. All right, you look at it, oh, okay. Hold on, wait a minute. Bam! Hopefully you can see what that says. It says Coon Chicken Inn. These are the two pieces that I got at this auction. And I paid $40. I didn't want to pay that much. I really didn't. It's really a cheap auction. You know, you can go in there and you can buy stuff like $2, $3, $4. But when I started bidding on the calendar, you know, it was like about $3. And I bid. And somebody behind me, they kept bidding. So it went to 10, 15. I like, oh my goodness, 17. I'm like, what's really going on? Why would this person just let me get this and get up out of here? So I ended up spending $40. You know, but that's okay. I believe that it's worth it. All right. So now that you've seen these pieces, let's talk about it. Let's dialect. How does that make you feel? So let's do a little recap, a little history. All right. So this right here, with Coon Chicken Inn, was a restaurant chain. And the first restaurant opened in Salt Lake City, Utah in 1929. I think they had about 4 different locations. You know, somewhere in Oregon, I believe maybe Washington. And so, but this is the culture. This is not their logo. I'm gonna show you the original logo. This is what the culture was. You know, the culture, the atmosphere at the time. This restaurant was founded by Maxim Lester Graham and Adelaide Burt. So they found this restaurant, and so they sold and prospered. They did well until the 1950s, and then it shut down. And the only reason that it shut down because the culture began to change. It was no longer acceptable to be racist, you know, and have racist themes in America. So they had to shut down. You know, I'm pretty sure that if that wasn't the case, they probably would have still been going and still using the logo, and they'd probably still be in business today. So that's the first one, Coon Chicken Inn. The next one, Darky toothpaste, is a brand of toothpaste by the Harley and Hazel Chemical Company, established in Shanghai in 1933. It was later based in Hong Kong and Taiwan. And so then in 1985, this company was bought by Colgate. Colgate pushed the product, but after, you know, some criticism, they end up changing the name to Darlie toothpaste, you know, and they end up changing the logo as well. But this toothpaste is still sold in some Asian countries. It's not sold in the United States, But if you go overseas to some Asian countries, then you will be able to find this toothpaste. And so bring it all into reality. The question that we ask ourselves is, why was this acceptable? Why was this okay? And the answer to that question is quite simple. It's not too hard. It's because the culture of America at that time supported this type of behavior, this type of actions towards another group of people, a bias, racism, hatred. So the definition of culture is the social norms and behavior of a society. And so for a long time, this was normal. And so that's why you could have these advertisements. It was expected, it was accepted. And the reason behind this is, I believe it's twofold, me personally. The first one, they're basically the same when you really think about it. It all goes down to the same source. The first one is pride. Pride is when you feel that you are better than someone else for any other reason. It could be anything. I'm better than this person because the way I look. I'm better than this person because of what I drive. I'm better than this person because of where I live. Pride is when you place yourself up on a pedestal and it's all about you. So that was one of the reasons this was acceptable. And the second reason, which is basically linked up with it, is because of the devil, Satan. When I'm talking about Satan, I'm not talking about people, because people are like, yeah, that's right, man, them devils. Not that. I'm talking about Satan, the devil, Lucifer. I'm talking about the one who hates everyone. And Satan goes around and he instigates and he puts people against each other. He causes people to be lifted up with pride, because the Bible teaches us that he himself became prideful. He began to look at who he was and say, you know what? I'm going to be God. I'm going to sin. I'm going to get worship. Pride. And so the devil does the same thing to people, begin to get them to be proud of themselves. They're superior than others. And when you feel that way, then usually you act out. Now, sometimes, you can have pride when you keep it to yourself. The people that you look at people, they give you a look or something. You talk to somebody, hey, how you doing there? But sometimes pride shows by the actions, how you treat people and what you do to them. And this was the culture that many people lived in and that we are living in today as well. When you look at culture, there are people that make up this culture. You can't have a culture without people, and when you look at people, there are three kinds of people in our world. You have those who are only about themselves, who don't care about anything or anybody else. They'll walk over you to get what they want, and you're in their way, then too bad for you. You have those people. Then you have those who basically what they do, they go along with whatever the majority of people are doing. If everybody else is doing it, whether it's right or wrong, they're going to go along with it because they don't want to be, left out. They don't want to be the one that's the odd person out of the group. So they'll go along with it. I guess you call it sheepish, follow, whatever you want to call it. And then you have those who they go with what's right. And so that means that if they are left out of something because they're standing for what they think is right and they're not going to be swayed to the right or left, then they're okay with that. They're those who usually are going to be ones who are going to be ridiculed, persecuted, made fun of, mocked, because they're not going to go along with the crowd, They're gonna think for themselves, and if they feel that something is wrong, then they're not gonna do it. And so those are the three people that make up a culture. And so the history of America is that we had a culture where you had the first group who only cared about economic gain and security and using any means necessary to get that, and that's what slavery came in at. And so you had those who got slaves and took slaves and made them work and abused them and did all these horrible things to them, and they could care less because they only cared about themselves. And then you had that next group of people, some who may not have agreed with slavery, some may who thought, well, I don't know if this is right, who had, mixed feelings, but because other people were going along with it and it was the norm, they joined right along with them. And then you had those who didn't agree with it and who stayed far away from it and did what they could to try to help. That's the reality of life, the people in the culture, three different people. Now, when it comes to not liking someone. Not liking what somebody does is one thing, but hating a person because of the race that they are part of, the color of their skin, that's totally different. See, you can not like what I'm doing, and that's cool. If I come out the house and you say, man, I don't like the shoes you got on, I can understand it. That's perfectly normal. You don't have to like what somebody's doing. There are a lot of times that people do things that are wrong, point blank. Sometimes actions are wrong, and you don't always have to like what somebody's doing. But to hate somebody because of the color of their skin, that's a problem. That's a huge problem, because God made all races of people, all shades of people created by God. You free if you want to. Like I said, God gives us free will. You free to hate somebody if you want to. You say, man, I just don't like that. Those people, that group of people, I just hate them. Why you hate them? They not like me. You can hate them if you want to. That's your freedom to do that. But you're wrong if you do that, and you're gonna have to deal with God on that. Now, when you look at this first group of people who dominated the culture, who pushed and promoted slavery and the mistreatment of people, when you look at that group of people, they do still exist today. You know what I'm saying? They're still out there. They're not as vocal now. Some are, but not most. Some of the people who are racist and who hate others, you won't know, because they will smile in your face, they'll hug you, they'll do all this stuff for you, but you're not gonna know their true intention, their true feeling, because it's not their culture now. It's not normal to be racist. It's not acceptable. So, they're still out there. You may not see them, but what we have to realize is that you cannot label everyone racist because of what some people have done out of that group. Everybody is not a racist. You can't say because these people did this, that whole race of people, the whole group, all of them are racist and they're all of them no good. That's not a true statement. You may want to believe that, and like I said, when you look back at slavery and all this mistreatment of Africans and people of color, it can make you mad, it can make you upset, and you can just say whatever, but you cannot sit here and say that everyone is a racist, because you got to understand, there are some people, like I said, who were not racist. And I did my best to try to research and try to find, those who were not racist, those who supported black. And there was a lot who were against racism, who didn't like it, Some did still own slaves. But I was able to find one gentleman who was a Quaker. And when I read and was able to find, the Quakers were against it. And some of them had to move because the culture was for racism. Some Quakers, they had to leave, but this one cat, I'm supposed to say cat, do I? This one gentleman named Levi Coffin, I was able to get some information on him. It said that he, his parents or his grandparents owned slaves. He said that was in their heart. They knew that it was wrong to do that. And he had a book, The Reminiscence of Levi Coffin, 1876, where he talked about that. So it's an autobiography of his life. His funeral, it was packed. It had some people that he helped get out of slavery that was his pallbearers. So, like I said, you can't sit and say that everyone is racist, because like I said, that's just not true. So what happens now is you have this extreme black separatist movement where it's all about, separating from white America. Well, blacks are only gonna shop with black people. Oh, I'm only gonna spend my money if it's black owned. If it ain't black owned, I'm not doing it. You can only marry someone of your own race. You only can live in a black neighborhood. Complete separation from everyone else who is not like us. I thought that was the problem that we had from the beginning, but it seemed like we're trying to get back to it on a different spectrum. But what's that gonna do in reality? It's just gonna separate us more than we're already separated. One of the things that our ancestors had for them was faith. They had faith in God, that God would deliver. They prayed to God and they cried out to God to deliver them. Because they went through, man, when you think about it, all the stuff that happened, that culture, man, it was horrible. And I wasn't even there, but just reading and researching, it was tough. It was tough. It was a bad time. But they had faith. They had faith in God, that God would deliver them. And he did. He delivered them and he got them through. Now, everyone didn't believe in God at that time. The Bible was being misquoted. It was being mistaught to promote slavery and to make sure that the slaves stayed in a position that the slave owners wanted them to. So a lot of them say, no, I'm not gonna believe this. And that's understandable, I can understand that. But many did though. Many did believe in God. It's ironic that the same God that delivered, our ancestors out of slavery, the same God that many of their descendants reject. They say that Christianity is the white people's religion, the white man's religion. Because of slavery, I don't believe that. They just taught us that to keep us in line and all that. So many, not all, like I said, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes right now, I promise you. But many people will say, you know what? I'm gonna become a Muslim. I'm gonna practice Islam, okay? And you think, you're like, well, don't they understand that Islam and the Arabs were involved in slave trade as well? That Islam took Africans from Africa and traded them with Asia and kept some for themselves. So I'm saying, okay, what to do about that? Christianity, the right man religion, I'm gonna believe that. But what about Islam? Because they participated in slavery as well. They had slaves, they captured Africans and they took them and they kept them from slaves and then they traded the rest. What do you do about that? And if some are not Muslims, they either become 5%ers or they become Hebrew Israelites, where the Hebrew Israelites believe and teach that the Bible, where they talk about the Jews, those are black people. Black people are the real Jews. People of color. All people of color are Jews. The Jews who suffered under Nazi Germany, according to Hebrew Israelites, those are not real Jews. So you have all this, and like I said, man, it gets deep, it's real deep. Listen, it's no secret that the America that we see today was built on the blood, sweat, tears of African people and people of color. No getting around that. No going under that, no going over it, no going around it. That's just facts. Millions of people were mistreated, were beaten, murdered, raped, taken from their families for no other reason than the color of their skin. Now, the question is, what are we gonna do today? That's the question. What are we gonna do now? Because like I said, you can't change a person. You can ridicule a person, you can try to make fun of them, you can beat them, you can talk about them, you can try to make them fall in line, but you can't change a person's heart. So if a person is gonna be racist, then you can't stop that. The only one who can change a person's heart is God. That's it, no one else. But what are we gonna do? Are we gonna keep going back and forth, hating each other? God created all of us. So why hate each other? Why be proud? Why think that I'm better than this group of individuals because of the color of my skin? Why think that, hey, I'm the original race because of where I'm from or my cultural background, or we're superior to these people because we have these advancements? Why? For what? Because that's not what God's about. I'm gonna read a quick scripture real quick. Acts 17:26. And God has made of one blood all nations to dwell on all the face of the earth, and had determined the times before appointed and the bonds of the habitation. So God has made all people. All of us have blood flowing in our veins. All of us come from the original two people, Adam and Eve. There's no race greater than the other. And hopefully one day we'll be able to live in unison and peace. It ain't gonna happen down here. Everybody's not gonna hold hands and we all gonna skip through the lilies, and that ain't gonna happen because Satan is out busy. He's working on those who he can get. So it's always gonna be animosity, always gonna be those who hate. But if you and I are willing to let Christ Jesus in our hearts, man, and we're able to follow him, then he'll be able to work on you and me and help us to love people that we may not like or agree with, who we may have prejudices against. In the kingdom of God, it's gonna be everybody there, all nations, all colors, all different languages gonna be there. As long as that person has put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ and believe that Jesus is the Son of God and he died for their sins, there's gonna be so many different people and races their cultures, ain't gonna be no racism then. Ain't gonna be no hatred toward people. It's gonna be love. So, like I said, these things about, and it just shows the culture. And like I said, the culture is still ongoing today. But hopefully, those of us who know Christ and those of us who know that it's not right to hate people because of the color of their skin.
Yeah, right.
And hopefully we'll all be able to work together and then learn from each other and learn to appreciate each other and help each other and love each other.
Yes,
so
sir.
Thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope you have a blessed and wonderful day.